Welcome to Battle of the Sexes. How's everybody doing tonight? Just want to say thank you all for coming, and we hope you enjoy this week's show. Hey, panel, how is everybody doing?
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey.
What's up?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So this week's topic of discussion is: can the Black community be sensitive at times, and is it always necessary? So, because Dre is the man of the hour today and the only
Man of the
man
hour.
present holding it down for the men, we are going to go with Dre first.
Oh, me first?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Do I think that the Black community can be sensitive? Yes. Yes. I think we as a Black community have become hypersensitive. But it's not like it's unwarranted either. Now, do I believe that sometimes we take it to an extreme? Absolutely. But even then, you got to ask, well, why? Like people say, well, why are you so mad? Then we tell them why we're so mad. And then they're like, come on, all that stuff happened in the past. No, it's still happening today. It's still happening today. So yeah, we black people in America, in this country, have become hypersensitive to mistreatment. So when it happens, yeah, it rubs us the wrong way. It rubs us the wrong way. And yes, we are going to respond to it. Some people may say it's reacting. You may not like the way we react or respond. Regardless, there's going to be a response, because I think for the most part, Black people are tired of the treatment, and rightfully so. But can we be hypersensitive? Yes, because there are some times where somebody did something wrong, and maybe, let's say, in the worst case scenario of a situation where there's a young man who committed a crime or whatever, and he went to go shoot at the police, and then drops his gun as the cops are shooting it back at him, and he gets hit. Then it's like, the cops should have handled it a little bit better. No, they should have shot him. So I think we can't be hypersensitive to a point where we become illogical in our thinking, and not try to get the whole story first. Which is, and I fall into that too. Like I see some articles, and I start formulating opinions, creating scenarios of what happened, why is it wrong, how they could have handled situations better. But the thing is, again, it's not warranted. It's not like we didn't undergo centuries of oppression, and all of a sudden we're making this up. So, yeah.
So when is the time to move forward then? Because I want to know that.
Don't everybody got to share their opinion first, and then we can get into the conversation. I feel like we're gonna get there, Andre.
Okay.
I just have a question.
Andrea's ready. She's ready.
I'm just asking a question. Okay, well, I told you Black folks are too sensitive about some things. It's time to, I know we done been through a slavery and all that, and I get all that, and I'm a little sensitive when it comes to things too. But sometimes we just take it to the next level, and I'm just saying, it ain't that we got other fight to fight. Come on now, this ain't that serious.
Yeah.
Is it my turn? So, for me, I'm agreeing with Andrea and Andrea as well. I feel like the history cannot be ignored of what happened for centuries and stuff. But even in everyday life, when you have to heal from something, you can't keep holding on to it. You can't keep bringing that trauma up. There's something we have to go through in order to heal from it, and I don't know the answer to what that is, because shoot, if we knew, I think we would have did it. But yes, I do think that sometimes Black people can get a little sensitive. We get sensitive with each other sometimes as well. So Yeah. Agreed.
Shanita.
I think that Black people are the right amount of sensitive, um, because the crimes against Black people keep happening. So um, everything doesn't have to be a race card. I get it. You know, you don't always have to pull a race card for every situation, but it's more likely than not the race card is going to have to be used because stuff just keeps happening. Like, take for example this whole Dante, what's his last name?
Right.
Right situation, and then surfaced another video of a white man being pulled over, and the cops gave him.
He
He was able
reached,
to drive away from the cops. He
and
was
he
just
and he
able to
reached for
do
his gun.
everything. Right. So like I don't see I can understand, you know, the plight of, you know, Black people, we're just too sensitive, but I can also see why we are too sensitive because stuff just keeps happening, injustices keep happening towards us. So
Mm.
that's my stance on it.
Okay. I think that sometimes I just feel like there's a time and a place for everything. And I feel that sometimes the Black community can be a little sensitive with certain situations. I do believe there's a time and place, and sometimes I feel that it's extremely necessary, right? But then there are other times, and I'll tell you one example of as to what when I think that Black people are a little bit sensitive. For instance, we covered it on Ladies' Night, I think like 2 weeks ago or something, and it was about the radio presenter, and he was talking about how he likes his women and what type of women he likes, and the Black community was in uproar because he said he preferred Halle Berry to Serena Williams.
Now,
I think
who?
that was one of the situations is when, I'm like, we got to pick and choose our battles, right? Like, and I always say, you don't want to keep on crying wolf, because if you keep on crying wolf, then people will not take you seriously anymore. People will not listen, and they just won't care. When it's necessary, you want to cry wolf so that you get the support that you need, right? But if we're crying and we're upset and we're making a fuss about every single thing, and then we throw out the black card, the race card, I just think that it's kind of it's starting to belittle the things that are really major and really important, because it just seems like, oh, we're just being super sensitive, or we're just making an anthill out of nothing, out of something small. So that's my opinion on it.
I wanted to say though, I know Andrea and Robin touched on the whole we got to move forward and we got to heal, and then Shanita also talked about it's hard to heal, like when it keeps happening. So it's like any wound that requires healing needs time to heal before it keeps getting injured again. So it's hard to say, well, we need to move on. You guys, they keep injuring us in the same way. So now for us to move on, we have to ignore the fact that they're injuring us, right? For us to emotionally heal while we're physically dying. I think that's not the right approach to it. And I'm a peaceful guy, but I don't know if that is the right approach is just to say we need to move on from this.
Well,
Because if the oppression is still happening and they're being creative now in the oppression, using words like taser to do their dirty work, then it's like how can we heal and move? How can we heal and move forward if they keep stabbing at the wound?
well, I think I'm saying is how can we keep gelling on the past too? If we it's like, man, it's like all these. I don't teach my kids the white man is in here trying to kill us or trying to get us. I'm sorry, we can't live like that. If we do, then we're cleaning our own self, and we can't be happy to go out here and spend our money, spend time, and enjoy our life. If that's a debilitating thing, if I'm going to teach my children that the white man is trying to kill me because I'm black, I'm not going to teach my kids that.
But Andre, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
All right. What if they want you to teach your black kids that?
I'm not going to teach my kids that.
No, what I'm saying is,
Who's they?
what if the people that want to oppress, that want to kill us, want you to teach your black kids? No, white people aren't out to kill you. So those, because you're right, not all white people are out to kill us.
Yes.
There are some that don't value our lives. So when it comes to our lives, they don't mind taking it. So if we teach our kids white people aren't out to get you, we may be teaching them a partial truth. And then they're going to believe that as a whole truth. And then when they have an encounter with a cop, they're going to think automatically that this cop has his best interest at heart, and it may not be so.
No, I don't teach. I teach my kids what to do if they get arrested, if their cop pull them over. And this my son. If he got a ticket, so what? We will pay the fine and let's move on. At the end of the day, it's the goal is to get them home back to me safely.
Yeah, but I think but that's the thing. They're not giving tickets. They're telling our boys to get out the car, and they're handcuffing them for moving violations.
True.
So yes, I agree with you, Andrea. Take the ticket. Don't argue. Take the ticket. It's when they're not arguing. It's not when they're not arguing and they're saying you need to get out the car, and then they reach for the seatbelt, and now it's like, oh, gun, and it pat, and he's only reaching for a seatbelt. So it's one thing where they're running plates, they're stopping us, they're giving us a ticket, and we're moving on. It's another thing when they're running our plates, they're stopping us. Instead of giving us a summons like they're supposed to, they're asking us to get out the car. And then when we reach for our seatbelts to get out the car, they're assuming, again, these loopholes that save these cops behind, loopholes, they're assuming that we're reaching for something. And then that's their license to kill us. So so you're right. Take the ticket, right? But how do we teach them that without teaching them you need to allow these cops to take full advantage of you and violate all your rights because I want you to get home? It's hard.
It's hard. It's a balance. And don't get me wrong, I had this with my son and the cops a couple months ago, so I know what it is. But it's a balance. And don't get me wrong, when I pulled up to the scene, I didn't like what I seen with my son and the cop. Yeah. And I showed I was like his mother in question why my son is not sitting in his car and still outside on your car. And I had a problem with it. And he was like, because my son was acting funny. I said, you know what?
I feel like
y'all are good to people. Black men is acting funny, and my son's a big boy too, but acting funny. I said acting funny how? Because he said that you can't search his car. He know his rights. He asked me what a warrant at. So I'm not saying this, but I do think if we teach our kids that the white people are out to get us, it's some truly good white people are fighting with us. And so it's a balance, but I'm not going to teach them every day that the white people are trying to get us all the time either, because at the end of the day, I bet you 10 times 10 my son might die by the hands of another black man than a cop.
But here's the thing, right? So let's look at the cop thing. Cops approach young black men assuming that their life is already in danger.
Yes.
And why can't we assume our life is in danger when a white cop approaches us?
I agree with that.
So,
but my son's in danger from another.
Can you repeat that?
Son is from another black man.
I'm so sorry,
each other
Andrea.
Too.
I just need him to. Can you repeat that again?
When white cops would approach a car with a black man in it, the assumption may be that their life may be in danger because they don't know if this black kid is a thug or whatever, or he got a gun. So if they can make that assumption and say, I want to get home to my family, so I'm going to approach this car with my hand, the gun drawn, so that I know I'm safe, then we should be able to make the same assumption that if I'm a black man in a car and there's a cop coming to me to give me a ticket, then I need to assume that my life may be in danger too.
So it's easy to look at someone who looks like yourself scientifically, even through the brain.
Yeah.
If they look like you, you can have empathy and compassion for them. Okay, so these black cops, clearly they look different from us. So naturally, it's like, why do they feel the need to do that? Where did the stereotypes come?
Well, implicit bias.
So all those things built up creates, I don't know if it's a fear or I don't know, I'm scared. Let me just have my hand right here. because we're so different and people are stuck on the differences between us, I feel like that's why we have these problems.
Yeah. You know what it is? It starts from young. Like you're right, Robin. It starts from young. And we are all conditioned to have implicit bias in one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I work at a school, like I work with great staff, right? Predominantly white women. Okay. And the school is predominantly Black and Latino students. Okay. The schools, other schools that are white, all have white staff. Hardly any Black staff, and if they do have Black staff, they're probably the custodian or something like that. Not an educator, not an admin, not a principal. So they never get to see a Black woman or a Black man in a position where they are teaching or a position of authority. The only things that they see is what's being portrayed on the news from the time they're young and old. The only thing they hear is what their parents and grandparents and cousins and aunties and uncles are saying. Thanksgiving, so and so. If Lucy likes Tyrone, and that's heard, they may hear, listen, don't you bring that N-word in this house. Like, so they're growing up believing these kinds of things. Black people are bad, they're thugs, they're not good for anything. Now, these people that were growing up like that, they're becoming cops. Now they have this
Exactly. Preconditioned.
Yeah.
Well,
And
isn't it a responsibility? I mean, I live in a multicultural neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay, my kids see all races at their school. They see Black principals. They see Black teachers. They see. I don't move into a neighborhood, and I make sure I'll make sure I know the school and know some of the staff before I take my kids there, because I want my kids to see me and they teachers. I want them to see in the principal. I see they had a Black principal. They don't have Black teachers. So I want to make sure that they get a mixture of everybody and just not one predominant race.
For me, I actually never saw a white person in person until I was about 7 years old. So for me, it's a totally different experience coming at 7. And at 7, you're pretty, you're starting to have your character and your personality already. You're like, so getting to be in class now as the only Black, coming from an all Black culture to like now I'm one of the only Black child or Black skinned person in the class with all these white people that I've never seen before. For me, that was like, but I do teach my children that there are bad people in the world. And I do teach my children that there are good people in the world. And race is not an issue for what I teach my children. I don't say that this kind of Black person is bad, or this type of white person is bad. I believe that it starts from, like Andrea said, start from the generation, the children. And I wish that, white people, we can have this conversation with those people who have been conditioned to feel the certain way, whatever, because then they can raise their children. And I think that's the only way to heal over time is through our children.
Yep.
But I teach my grown kids something different. Now I do believe when it comes to my son, he might be killed by another Black man, because I don't believe that, because they are killing each other every weekend in the hood. And so so I have to be careful with that too. Because when he goes out to his friends in different neighborhoods, I'm really worried. I'm like, I don't want you to go down there. Don't even go down there at nighttime. Go down in the daytime where it's lit.
Yeah,
right.
That's tough, because I remember, like, I lived in an all white neighborhood, and my kids, but the thing is, they're fair skinned. Their mother's like Puerto Rican, but she's a light skinned Puerto Rican, so they're very in between us. But their hair texture, like, you could tell that they have some sort of roots based in the motherland in Africa. You know what I'm saying? And it was tough because they were welcomed in the neighborhood, right? And we moved into the neighborhood, and everyone knew each other in the neighborhood. When we moved in, it was like, okay, we would park the car, walk up the block, and as we would walk, you would see doors open and people come outside just watching us. right? I was even followed up one-way streets by a police officer until I got in my house, right? That, but I was happy I lived there. And to Andrea's point, because I grew up in a really tough neighborhood. I got out because I was not with the nonsense, right? And my concern was not that. My concern was that my kids would be would be attracted to the nonsense, therefore their lives would be at risk. I like growing up. I never feared for my life because I played basketball. I did smoke weed, but like I was not part of I was a heavy weed head, but I was not a part of like the nonsense, And in fact, my friends they knew I wasn't part of the nonsense, and I had like really good people that were killers that would say, "Dre, you need to go for a walk," when things were about to go down, thankfully that I had people like that. But my concern was that my kids like would not make the same decisions, at least in that area that I made. Therefore, their lives are at a higher risk of being taken in that kind of situation. So like me living in that neighborhood, I was thinking, I'll deal with this racism a little bit. I'll deal with it, knowing that my kids probably won't have to be enticed into that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah, because I just had an argument with my girlfriend because I said my parents decided to buy a house in the suburbs, and my daddy said he worked too hard to. He got raised 7 kids. He worked too hard to live in the hood, and then he got 7 kids, and they might seek and have that mentality come in his house. And he said, "I'm moving to the suburbs. My wife won't get shot, stabbed, and robbed right in front of our house." Yeah. And he said, and you can call me sell out you want to, but I'm moving to the suburbs where I know that you're gonna be safe.
But in all fairness, that's a low income problem. That's not really a black neighborhood problem. Black neighborhoods that are middle class are
most people live black people. Isn't that right?
Yeah, but the thing is, if you go to like trailer parks, where there's a lot of it's the same. It's the same thing: drugs, killing, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a low income problem. The problem is this: 13%. America's made up of 13% of black, right?
Yes.
A large portion of that are low income people. And then what happens is they put us in a 4-block radius, call these buildings or housing developments projects, and make it very hard for us to get out. So it looks like, black people are killing each other when really it's not black people in essence. It's black people who are living in a low income community, packed in like sardines, and they're uncomfortable. They don't see outside of the bubble. So like I live in a middle class black neighborhood right now. Right, bought a house in a black neighborhood with black middle class people. Right, I would have moved anywhere, but like, so my thinking about that really did change. Like, because I don't want to say necessarily black neighborhoods or ghettos or hoods, because we have to also set that disclaimer that we may be talking about a neighborhood that happens to be all black, but the overarching problem is the lack of resources that are going into that community. It's the lack of income that people have access to in that community that causes this to happen.
I get that. I understand. I know it's lack of jobs. I know it's lack of resource, lack of income. I know it's all that. But that don't mean I want my kids be hanging out there with their friends and when they get shot. I'm not happy and comfortable. And I'm sorry. I got one son and I'm not gonna bury him. He gonna bury me. I'm not burying him. That's how I really feel.
I feel you.
Yeah. I think a lot of parents are that way. Nita, what's your thoughts? You've been silent.
I've just been listening to the conversation, really.
She's been agreeing with me the whole time, just saying.
That's what it is.
Who are you? What is this?
Right? What's going on?
I'm really good to hear from Drake. When we do hear him, I'm overwhelmed with emotions. I love his opinions and his thoughts and the way that he articulates things and has us with a better understanding of stuff. So I'm just loving it right now.
Dre, you may accept it real quick. It may change
before she changed my mind.
Oh no, yeah, come Sunday, it'll be different.
It'll be different, okay.
But
I mean, I think dangers are everywhere, whether it's black or white, whether it's in a white neighborhood or a black neighborhood. I like Dre. I stay in a predominantly black neighborhood, middle class black neighborhood, and my kids don't go outside no way, just because
right.
technology. And when they do go outside, they go outside in the backyard, and we don't really make friends with our neighbors like that, just because But I feel like whether you stay in a all white neighborhood or all black neighborhood, danger is going to happen either way. Just like that happened with the young man in South Carolina with the sergeant. He was in a predominantly white neighborhood, and this white man didn't know who he was, and he was assaulting him because he felt like he was in the wrong neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's everywhere. I don't necessarily teach.
She has to think about it. Uh-oh.
What do I teach my kids?
I
shoot
know
first.
I teach my kids, but it might not be YouTube friendly. So I'm just gonna say,
I mean,
I just teach my kids to be
say
careful.
what you gonna say.
we're all doing this parenting thing together. We don't know. We're just doing what we feel is right for our own children. So, that's all we can do.
I use what happens in the news as examples of what to watch out for, especially when it pertains to the Black community and how we just keep getting killed. And I try not to overwhelm them with all of the stuff that's happening, because I don't want them to be like emotionally charged and they're thinking and stuff like that, especially with the teenagers, because they're ready to fight about everything. So, I try not to give too much conversation. I mean, if it comes up and they want to talk about it, especially my teenagers, if it comes up and they want to talk about it, and we'll expound. But I don't want them to keep pushing it in their face like, yeah, this is what the white man doing. This is what you need to be careful for. I just want them to see and just formulate their own opinion.
This is happening. Yeah.
Pushing their face. You got to watch out. You can't do this. Because eventually they're going to turn their hearing off and they're not going to want to hear anything else that I got to say. So whatever they have, whatever their feelings are, then I'll just go with their feelings. I don't push my emotionally charged agendas and feelings on them because I'm upset about what's going on with the world. That's why I have feelings for to tell to y'all about it. Or, talk to my partner.
Battle Texas.
Come to Battle Texas, we'll talk about it. But I try to let my kids form their own opinions. Even with my youngest ones, they're elementary school. They hear what they hear from like the internet, and then they be like, yeah, like when Donald Trump was acting up, yeah, like Donald Trump. They don't know why they don't like because they hear on the internet, So, and I try to, well, this is what's happening, and if that's how you feel, then that's how you feel. But this is what's really going on. But they're too young to even understand any of that. So, but with my teenagers though, our generation, when we were growing up, we weren't as vocal as they are now. They ready to fight. Like I said, they're ready to fight about everything.
They're ready to protest. Yeah.
We have voices and we need to be heard. And so, and with them having access to technology like they have now, and we didn't have it like that. I mean, we just started getting the internet, but we wasn't like using it like, that. We was just online playing solitaire and stuff.
Minecraft. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I was pretty
Minesweeper.
But you know what? Like that's virtual mobbing, like that virtual mob mentality. So because I remember watching a meme, right, where guys, what they would do is they would run past a group of people. All of a sudden, those people are running too. Right? They have no clue why they're running. Right?
Yep.
It's mob mentality, right?
Yeah.
One person throws a bottle through a window, and then everybody else starts throwing. They have no clue what's happening, right? They just want to start, being a part of the mob. They're angry now, and they don't even really know why they're angry.
Why?
Yeah.
Or the information that they were given, it wasn't complete. So it's like that over the internet too, right? Our kids are watching virtual mob mentality happening through social media, through posts, through the sharing of all this stuff.
The viralness.
And here's the thing, and let me tell you what
Right.
people are reading. People mostly read the title of articles on social media. Rarely do people click those articles, and they'll share it out.
I read the whole thing before I share it out. I read the whole.
They read the title and then they start commenting like this.
Yeah,
Right.
start commenting. Listen, I posted an article, and I went to a Bible college back in 1998. Again, predominantly white, and a lot, I love them, but some of them are clueless as to what's happening in America as far as race. And when I post things, some of them well-meaning people would be like, well, what's the backstory? Did you click the article? Like, they'll say, well, why are you race baiting? I'm not race baiting. I want to have a conversation about this. It's not going away until we talk about it and start, opening up our eyes. Don't just look at the caption, because these editors know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly how to create this virtual mob mentality. Don't ask me what the backstory is. Click the link and get educated.
Right. So I have a question, right? Andrea kind of called me up one day, and I actually want to bring the question to you guys as well, because me and Andrea be having some conversations, y'all. Okay, but
Angeli,
we ended up on the topic of, do we feel that sometimes us as Black people contribute to our own deaths, or our own, the way situations end for us? Do we sometimes feel that we contribute to that, or is that just something that, or do we just feel that no, we are a victim, we are targeted, and this is the life that we are living in now? So I'm intrigued to see what you guys think about that as well.
Before I answer that, Andrea, can you elaborate? Like, what do you mean contributing? Okay. Do you mean like we act irrational and we deserve to be shot?
Black people contributing to their own deaths. When I say that, I mean, like, okay, with the cop and Dante, like he was risking arrest. So like he's running and the cop said stop, and now he's dead. So I'm asking, was he a contributing factor to his death? Was he be alive and he would just go ahead and got arrested?
On that note, sometimes you have people like that who is trying to resist arrest, but then other times you have people who are laying down, dying under police. So I don't know.
If we think that, we got to be consistent, all right? A husband and wife get into an argument. The wife says, well, that's why, you got a little John anyway. And he goes and hits her. Would he have hit her if she never said that?
Yes.
So is she wrong for saying that because it caused him to hit her?
He would have hit her.
So we got to be consistent.
I believe she was a contributing factor to the fight.
Yeah,
or he could have.
He would have hit her anyway. And let me tell you why he would have hit her anyway.
Wait, no, but we got about the specific shooting. What we're doing is we're taking somebody's actions, right, that they can fully control, and saying, well, it was the victim's fault because the victim, caused it to happen.
Okay,
that's right. Because I kind of think
the point was okay. So when you get pulled over by the cops, I always told, when you get pulled over, if he arrests you, you don't resist arrest, because that is the law. So if that's the law, I'm asking, if I get pulled over by a cop and he arrests me, my tag be wrong, insurance, whatever, it don't matter. Okay, I'm getting arrested, I'm going to jail. Now if I decide to run from him, I'm a contributing factor to death.
Not to your death.
I'm gonna have to agree with Dre on this one.
Oh Lord!
Say that again. I think your mic was mute.
I think he wants you to say it again.
Your mic was muted. Say that. Wait, what?
I think he wants you to say it again, Nita.
Huh?
I'm gonna have to agree with you. Do it again, Dre. Do it again.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to agree with Dre on this one, because I get the the metaphor that you were using, your analogy.
Yeah.
There I say.
Yeah. Try to be as,
And
I didn't get it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I think that he was saying like, okay, if the husband smacks the wife for her saying that he got a little thing, did she deserve being hit? And we were all going to say no. So just like the officer, like the man is still in control of his own actions. This is what he does. The husband, this is what he does. He just smacked her just because. The officer is just killing people just because this is what they do. And I don't I don't I don't agree to that it's the boys' fault for getting killed, or for black people when they resist arrest. The reason why they get killed because someone can be compliant and they still die.
Yeah.
But and on the flip side of that, a white person can resist arrest and they go out and they live. Sometimes they grab the weapon from the top.
Okay,
And
well,
that's
can
what
I say something
so
though?
most likely, a white person gonna live, a black person is gonna die. So when I say contributing factor to their own death is, you see these high speed chases when these boys done been in prison and they on parole or they got something in their car, they have a high speed chase because they don't go back to jail. Come on now, let's tell the truth.
Vee, real quick.
Every day.
My thing is,
Vee.
what if we switch out the officer and make them black? Say the officer is black in that situation, okay? The victim is black, the officer is black. Okay, let's take race out of it for a second, and let's just look at the situation as it is. Would you still be feeling the same way you're feeling? Because I can see what Andre is saying. Like, I'm not saying people deserve to die. So I don't want anyone to take that off that we're saying, oh, they deserve to die because they did this. No one deserves to die, right? But sometimes I do feel that sometimes we don't help the situation, and at the end of the day, what's going to happen? Okay, the officer has a gun and potentially you don't have a gun. So my thing is, are we going to go calmly and figure this out and go and get your phone call and find a lawyer and let you get your rights, and then you can sue the police department if you want to for a wrongful arrest? Or are we going to try and evade, run, get out of the place, or we starting to make quick movements where the police are like, what the hell's going on? And now they're also feeling a threat. They're feeling a threat because you're moving so fast and you're doing something that realistically you shouldn't be doing. I'm just saying, when that type of situation happens, like we said, these officers have families. They're not all going out every day to go and kill people. We know a great officer. We know Harry, okay, that comes on the show with us a lot of the time. So does he not deserve that if somebody is acting crazy like that, does he not deserve to have a sense of, I need to protect myself too?
Yeah, but it's crazy running away from the cops. And then when you finally do stop and you comply, you get shot. So that's the thing. Like we're saying, would he still be alive? No, but he did. So we're asking the question: if he would have never have Andrea, you said
never complied.
No, he didn't apply. He didn't apply.
So how did she shoot him?
I'm sorry. We're thinking of two separate situations. I'm thinking about the young man, the 13-year-old in Chicago.
Boy. He complied. Yeah.
Oh, the 13-year-old.
No. So again, all right. So now a little bit more context.
Okay.
Dante Wright still should be alive because he should have been tased, not shot.
Yes, I agree with that.
Right. I agree with that.
Yeah, he should have definitely been tased. Like, so I'm not saying, because I was thinking of this little boy, the 13-year-old, who was running and then stopped.
Seen that too. I seen
that was crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But as far as Dante Wright, right, he was wrong. All right. Then the question, then you're asking the question: if he didn't behave that way, would he have been alive? Yes. Also, if he had been tased, would he still be alive? Yeah, 95% chance he would have still been alive. Yes. So at the end of the day, still, it was the officer's actions that caused him not to be alive, because she would have tased him if she did the right thing. She still was the one to do the wrong thing, even though he was trying to resist arrest.
But the thing
I want to say too, I just real quick,
you guys kept me on longer than this is a good conversation. You guys, gosh, man. This is a good conversation. I should have been going 10 minutes ago. Let's continue. Let's keep going.
I just want to bring up Sandra Bland.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Shamita.
Who made it to the, to the
jail,
to where she had to go and died. in the care of officers.
Right.
So I just don't know. Would
Yeah.
he have really made it alive? We don't know.
Right. Right. And given the climate of this world and how everybody's afraid of police, especially the young black man. And he's 20 years old, just came out of high school. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said about these teenagers they're going to talk back. They're going to feel what they feel. They're going to be angry. They're so emotionally charged right now
Who's
about
calling?
everything. And they're not going to be thinking rational in the heat of the moment like that. He was scared. His mama said she can hear the fear in his voice when she called him. And that was
Oh
the last time
Lord.
she had a conversation with him.
And
But
that's,
there was also
my
my
whole
thing
He
is
was
as well, if
scared.
he felt that
climate right now.
uncomfortable,
That's my
right?
whole point. In the height of
There
this
was
climate,
a black officer there too on the scene. He's in the video.
He was
You can
scared.
see him. There's a black officer. So
Yeah.
you could be like, I want to speak to him. I don't want to speak to you. You can say that.
But who
Because I
does
feel
that? What
comfortable
20 year
speaking to
You
old
you.
makes
can't
those
think.
kind of
You
judgment
can't think,
calls?
V. You're not thinking at that moment.
What
You're
kind of
just
20-year
scared.
old
Yeah.
black child makes those type of mature
No.
judgment calls in the heat of the moment? They don't think like that.
but
He's
that's what,
just
that was my whole point. In the height of this climate, our black boys. In the height of this climate, I do not look.
The
I do
black
not want my son to
The
run.
age
That's
to
what
live.
running is not an option. No, we're not. Running is not an option. Take the ticket. If you're gonna get arrested, me and your daddy will be there in a couple minutes. Okay, but running is not an option because they will shoot first and ask questions later and say you had a gun. All this other stuff they'll make up.
So-
Okay, so running is not an option. So when I say contributing to contributing to his death, when I said at the height of this climate, so some people don't tell their kids. I'm just being honest, okay? I'm just saying it. They ain't telling their kids, look, don't run, don't do that. Just get arrested and come make it home.
Yeah.
But here's the
That's
thing.
Because
so
I
sad.
believe
I'm
Dante
gonna say-
Wright wouldn't have even
But
got
he's a
tased,
grown
guys.
man, though.
He was
So
outside the
sad.
car. If he stayed outside the car and just got handcuffed, he wouldn't have even got tased.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have
Yeah.
even
I agree.
got shot to
But-
get
but-
tased.
But if I may,
happened.
if I may, I'm going to ask a probing question that's probably going to make you feel slightly exposed, Andrea, if you don't mind.
Okay.
You said that in the
Uh-oh.
beginning of the show, you said that we needed to move on from this,
Yes.
right? We need
Yes.
to move on.
Mhm.
All right. But then how do you say we need to move on and then still talk to your black sons about how they need to behave if they approach a black cop? If we have to still talk to our black boys about that,
Mhm.
then there's no possible way then we can move on because we know that they can treat us the way they still treat us.
Yes,
But the world needs to move on. It's not just us.
We can move.
Because Andrea still is I believe you still are aware that this is happening still.
Yes,
But that doesn't mean I just hate.
This is my life. I see. This is my life. Okay, my son was pulled over when he went graveyard for 4 times driving a nice car. They didn't give him no ticket. They just want to see is he a drug dealer because he black and he dark skinned and he big. Okay, so this has been happening in my family. This has been happening to my son, my girlfriend's kids. We are seeing this every day. But the one thing we tell our kids: don't make no false moves. Stay in the car.
Who's the one that needs to move on then? It's not us.
Well, the white folks are still killing the black white.
But that's why that's my
part
point.
of healing.
That's my point.
That's part of healing.
That's
It's not
my
just
point.
us,
It's
but
not
them
the person.
too.
The person that needs to. But the thing is, the person that really needs to heal
Mhm.
is a person still stabbing the one that's trying to heal.
Correct.
So we cannot possibly move on unless they deal with their issues and heal from their issues first.
Okay, then it's our turn to protest and say we want change when it comes to making the police be accountable. We want the sheriff fired. I don't care if the DA get fired anymore now. Okay, charging right, that's their damn job. How many times you don't been to law school? Okay, so we got all these degrees. So V have made me want to learn law school now because damn it, I gotta learn first degree, second degree, all this shit for no they get charged for now.
And that's the thing, Andrea, when we do protest, here comes martial law, here comes the smoke guns, here comes all these different arrests, even when we're protesting peacefully. So it's like we can't even try to get a leg up and unite because then they're, throwing bombs and stuff at us. So it's not on us. We are doing our part.
If we stay united,
Girl, but have you seen some of those protests?
if we had different views. And I tell you this, I guarantee you, if we stop taking that damn money and say, we gonna stop taking the money and say, look, I'm going to the highest court of the land. I ain't taking a dime. I want you to go to jail in this period. I ain't taking a dime no more.
But it doesn't bring your child back.
It doesn't bring a child back, but damn it, I'm gonna fight for my son.
It's not really justice.
My thing is, if you're gonna take the money, this what I would do, and I would have my lawyer make sure if I'm gonna take that money, it's gonna be precision in that lawsuit that says what change is coming forth if I take this money, and I want it in paper and I want it in writing. Are we doing that? No, we're not. We just taking the money.
But that's because settlements don't work that way. Settlement says, I'm paying you this, let it go away. Leave us alone.
No, you can demand. You can demand. You're just not doing it.
No, you can't. Andrea, there's not one settlement in this country that you can make demands on. A settlement says, here, I'm going to give you this much.
I'm not taking
and
the
leave
money.
me alone and shut up. That's it. That's how it is.
I think negotiate the number.
I think personally,
how much will it take to let this go away? That's their response. It's not like, well, what would you like to see change and still get my money?
No.
I think personally with the cops, I feel like, and we touched on it a little bit on ladies' night, which I was like, wow, like this is really like serious conversation. But I feel like with the cops, their training needs to get better. They need to go through psychological testing. And also I feel that, there's just more that needs to be done. The whole system needs to be, when I heard, and I didn't know until, was it Neek or V? Whoever said that when they draw their gun, they're drawing to kill.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was irate. I was just like, I just want to get this out.
Yeah.
Well, if they feel like they are the ones who should carry out the judgment at that time, then there's no need for a court system. I think that they should be trained to take down. And let me tell you something. I was in high school and I'm 5 foot, 100 and something little pounds, and I can take down a full grown man. We are taught that in karate, we're taught that in football, whatever. And you're telling me that these cops cannot be trained to and there are certain situations like the Dante thing, fine. Like he was acting crazy. Okay. Did he deserve to die? No, he didn't. I just wish that there was different training. And the 13-year-old, again, he's 13 years old. He's a baby. Yeah. And yes, he made a mistake. Our brains are not even developed as children. We cannot even make rational decisions, some of us.
They found a gun at the scene. So
yes, because he threw it. He probably was like, oh my God, I'm going to die.
You know what?
He probably
Andrea,
threw it.
He probably planted the gun.
No, that officer didn't even let him explain.
Let me tell you something. How easy would it have been once he threw the gun, once he complied, go tackle him and bring him into wherever he needs to be.
If I may, just to respond to Robin,
I'm sorry.
I remember having a conversation with my mother about this. My mother, she is a retired law enforcement.
Okay.
And I remember asking her, like, why can't they just shoot the leg? And she said that in their training, they are they are trained to shoot center mass. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest part of the body. So you have a higher chance of hitting your target. You're not going to aim for an arm, because if you aim for an arm and miss, you may risk hitting somebody else. If you aim for a leg and it ricochets, it may hit someone else. Bullets are very finicky things. It could hit a rock just slightly to the, like that's tipped, and it'll ricochet to the right, go inside somebody's house and kill a sleeping baby. So cops are trained to shoot. If they have to pull their gun, they're trained to shoot center mass, not necessarily to kill, but they also know that if you're shooting center mass, but the thing is, if you are going to shoot center mass, you're shooting to kill. But they're trained to shoot center mass, not necessarily shoot to kill. Because if you're shooting to kill, you're going to shoot the head. Cops don't shoot heads. Every time you see a cop shooting, it's always in the midsection, because they're trained to shoot for the highest rated target to hit. So it's a center mass. So my mother explained that to me. It made sense. But we also got to understand this: cops are highly trained. Like cops are still highly trained. The issue is not so much the training. I think what you said before, Robin, I agree with. It's the psychological aspect. It's the delving into their past, asking them, "Do you guys have friends of different cultures?" And not, "Do you know people of different cultures?" I want to know, do you have a godchild that happens to be black? Like,
well, that's what said.
Right.
You got some black friends. Who your
People
black?
can lie.
Yeah.
People
Okay.
can lie.
no, and then you vet. I need to, we're going to interview all your family. We're going to interview, if you're policing this community, we are going to fully vet.
I agree with that. I
Fully
agree
vet
with
you.
that.
And I agree. I believe police officers do better if they get their asses out and walk the beat and find local people in the neighborhood, because that's why they sit in their car, eat damn donuts, and don't know the people in the neighborhood they policing. And that's why I told the officer the other day when he pulled my son over. I said, if you want to know what's going on in the neighborhood and you want me to talk about it, I ain't telling you shit. If you come out here and walk, you might know everybody.
But some of them do, though. You'll be surprised. Like some of them.
There are some good cops. There are some good cops.
Yeah,
they really are.
I know.
I know some
several
of them.
I know more good cops than actually. The truth be told, like,
I don't know the bad ones.
yeah, only
I don't wanna know
honestly,
them.
the only cops I do know are good cops because they're friends of mine. Like,
right. I wouldn't know them, the bad ones.
You know who's a good cop?
Cool.
Harry.
Yes,
my boy Harry.
Yeah,
Harry is a good cop. He
Yeah.
really is.
Because I think he gonna take the time to know what his demographic, where he's working at. You want to know the kids in the neighborhood. But if you don't, then I told the cop this: if you want to know why some black people are afraid of y'all, because we don't know you, and then you want us to talk about what's going on in our neighborhood. No, we ain't telling you shit. Yeah. So if you come out here and walk the beat and get to know your neighbors, when you walking, you might want to know, and we might tell you what's going on in the neighborhood. But you ain't walking. You want to come up there and ask me what's going on? I ain't telling you shit, because I ain't telling you nothing either. My neighbor might kill me for telling on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
to start a program like that where they get into the neighborhood.
Yes,
but there's also, and if I can offer the other side to that too, cops aren't always safe in low-income black neighborhoods.
That too.
I agree with that. But at the same time, you want to know why they are afraid of us, and the kids are afraid of y'all because you don't hang out in the neighborhood, and the only time you come in is with shooting, stab, robbing somebody dead.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
what do you think a cop is doing? You think they got time to make friends? They on the clock. They got jobs to do. They getting called here. They getting called there.
Look, I know for a fact the FBI, the cops, the narcotics cops are using undercover people. Okay, so you can get in them neighborhoods. You just choosing not to.
No, if they undercover, you can't know that they
don't know.
How do you get folks to inform on people? Because you tell you know.
I think there's a happy medium between on the clock and in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I think in Staten Island, what right after the Eric Garner thing, what the police in Staten Island started to do was, in New York City in general, had this program called community policing, where police officers were required to spend time in the local community centers, spending time with the kids.
Volunteer service hours, right?
Well, volunteer. They were paid during their beat to go into community services and also work extra overtime to do it. So they were hanging out with us when I was the supervisor of a community center. They were hanging out with the kids, playing basketball with the kids, playing pool, ping pong, things like that.
You know what? The same thing happened in Houston with George Floyd. When George Floyd died, the same thing happened in Houston. The police were marching with everybody in the street, hand in hand with people. Yeah.
I'm not saying,
wow, you just gave me chills.
I'm not saying
they did. It was amazing.
Wow. But I do think they should have some psychiatrists on hand. I think someone needs when you shoot somebody, you need a month off. Go on vacation, okay?
Yeah, and counseling.
They get suspended usually.
Yeah, you're right.
And go
you need a psychiatrist.
And then you start get immune to that, shooting people. Ooh.
And that's my thing. Like, if I was a supervisor, if I was a lieutenant, and one of my officers shot somebody and he's okay, I would be like,
be a psychiatrist.
Yeah, you can't be working here.
Help.
You good?
Yeah, like
you
just took somebody's life and you okay?
Yeah, that's
I'm good. Put me out tonight.
Well, that's not normal. I think you should be off for a month, seeing a psychiatrist, working through that, and when the psychiatrist say it's okay, you go back to work, that's fine. But you need a month off for real.
Yeah.
You know what? I wanted to bring up a point too. Kind of going back when you when we were talking about teaching our men to just comply and just not to do anything. A couple of years ago, Castro,
Philando Castro.
Castile, yeah.
He
Castile.
complied the entire time. The entire time. And he was shot dead in his car. He did exactly what they told him to do.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to show him, hey, look, I got my stuff. I'm certified. He's reaching. Boom, 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 boom. So it's like
his girlfriend or wife is next to him.
Yes.
Right? His baby's in the back seat. He was an educator. He was a paraprofessional.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I
and
said.
He did right. So it's like whether you do right, whether you comply or whether you resist.
They can't hear at that moment. They don't hear I'm reaching for. They just see.
They just see you. Oh no, you got a gun.
Yeah. I don't think they're not listening at that moment. They're just like, he's reaching. Like they didn't hear him say that. They're so just like in a state of panic.
I'm gonna tell you.
Oh gosh.
He said he had a gun, but he also said, "Here, I have my paperwork," and he was trying to get his paperwork, and that's when.
Yeah. So
I think you have to ask.
The thing is though, like when if you are a licensed carrier, right?
Yes.
When you are pulled over, you have to disclose that you are. Yes. That you're a legal carrier, right?
Yeah.
He like you said, he did everything right. Everything right. Now this is what I'm saying. Like with the situation with the lady cop who killed Dante, when she shouted "taser, taser," knowing that the body camera was on, she could have probably. Now I'm just giving a scenario, so don't say, "Hey, Andre is saying that she did it on purpose."
No, that's
if she wanted to do it on purpose, she could, stating that I thought it was a taser and say, "Hey, taser, taser," and then shoots him, just like this guy who killed Philando Castile, right? Philando was giving him a play-by-play of what he was doing. Mm-hmm. This cop didn't even see a gun and fired anyway. Yeah. And here's the thing. Mm-hmm. And my thing is like, so in my mind, this cop wanted this to happen, right? Wanted this to happen because I don't know of any human being, cop or not, a human being that's going to see a baby girl in the back seat.
Oh God!
And at the time she was 4. I think she was 4 years old, right?
Yeah, she was a baby.
This man's wife, okay? Go to kill somebody who is speaking respectfully to you unless you wanted it to happen. And here's the thing, right? I have I see you, right? My hand, my gun is here, right? I'm just playing it out. And he's telling me what he's doing, right? If he's reaching, right? I may take my gun, like unclip it and then have it out. And the second I see a pistol, I'm shouting,
then
drop it.
You pull it out. Right.
Yeah. I am not going to
drop it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I am not, because I know he got his babies in the car. I am not going to, and this is just a human thing. Mm-hmm. As he's reaching for something, gun, and then shoot, unless I wanted it to happen.
Right.
You
know? But what's the point of having what's the point of having Benjamin Crump on every case, okay, where everybody died and from the police, if he ain't helping make some new laws happen?
That's because lawyers know how to work the system, right? A cop, all he has to say is, I was afraid for my life. He was reaching for something and he told me that he had a gun. Boom.
And
he's off.
Immune.
I meant to tase him, but I shot him by accident. And as you can see in the video, I shouted taser, taser, thinking that it was a taser. And now I'm scot-free. That's how it works. That's how it works.
And we'll never know about that taser thing.
No.
It's that time. We're going to go around and do our final thoughts for the evening. This was a great discussion. It really, really was. And I hope that everybody gets a lot out of this discussion. I think we need to raise and open our platforms more open to have these types of discussions and topics where we can talk it out and see how everybody's mind works and respect each other's opinion, even when we don't agree. So I'm going to let Robin go first. Your final thought, Robin?
About just
the topic,
just as I said before, everything. That's it.
Okay. Andrea?
I just think we have to do better when we get these settlements. I feel like Benjamin Crump is a waste of time for Black people. I'm sorry, because I feel like he don't do enough to make sure some of these laws be changed. That's my own personal opinion. I'm gonna let that go.
Okay. Dre?
Shanita agreed with me. I'm good.
I
I'm done.
love it.
Janita?
um, as I said, I don't think that we cause our own death. I feel like the outcome is still going to be the same whether we resist or whether we comply.
Yeah.
And for the record, this will be the only live that Dre and I will agree. No, you got to do the other one, Dre. You got to do the other one.
Which one? Oh.
I love
And on that note, guys, we will be back live next week. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you all have a great Sunday, and we will see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Yes.